On what to expect this evening when Nigeria takes on Ivory Coast in Africa Cup of Nations final being held in Ivory Coast. So before we get into more discussion on the players that we expect to make a difference this evening, I want us to run through some of the numbers for this tournament. We take a look at the previous meetings between these two teams. Remember, it's not the first time they're meeting in Africa Cup of Nations. Now, in this year, in the Africa Cup of Nations, Nigeria got a 1-0 win against Ivory Coast. In 2013, they met. Nigeria got a 2-1 win against the Ivory Coast back then. 2008, still, they met, and this time it was Ivory Coast who had the last laugh. On February 7th, 2006, Ivory Coast still got a win against Nigeria. And then in 25th September 1993, Nigeria defeated Ivory Coast 4-1. And then in 2nd May 1993, still Ivory Coast defeated Nigeria 4-1. These are the previous meetings in the Africa Cup of Nations. So let's take a look at the head-to-head between the Elephants and the Super Eagles. They've played 12 matches. Nigeria has won 4, Ivory Coast has won 6, and they've drawn 2. From this, probably you can say that Ivory Coast is most likely to win, but that has to be decided after 90 minutes. Now, let's take a look at how Nigeria got into this final. We take a look at the matches that Nigeria played getting into the final. The first match was a 1-1 draw against Equatorial Guinea. Then they got a 1-0 win against Ivory Coast. They got a 1-0 win against Guinea-Bissau. In the round of 16, it was a 2-0 win against Cameroon, and then 1-0 win against Angola in the quarterfinals, and then semi-finals, they defeated South Africa 4-2 on penalties. That is how Nigeria got into the finals. How did Ivory Coast get into the finals? Now, their first match, it was a 2-0 win against Guinea-Bissau, lost to Nigeria. They got a loss to Equatorial Guinea, 4-0 was the final score. They settled for a 1-1 draw against Ivory Coast and won 5-4 on penalties. They got a 2-1 win against Mali and a 1-0 win against DR Congo in the semi-finals. So that is how both teams got into the finals of AFCON 2023. Now, gentlemen, I want to bring you into this discussion, and I want us to take a look at the players that we expect at least to make a difference for these teams. And I want to begin with you, Cedric. We take a look at the players that you expect probably to do something for the Ivory Coast who are playing at home. Let's begin with Yahia Fofana, the goalkeeper. A lot is expected from him. We've seen that he can save penalties. And then you have Seko Fofana, a man that has been an engine for this Ivory Coast side. You have Sebastian Haller. Shtemi said that, he got into the tournament late on. That is when he started playing. But we've seen how, dangerous he is on attack. And then you have Frank Kessie, a man that has been, he's the fire in the engine for the Elephants. Cedric.
I think looking at all these 4 players, and if you try to, all eyes will be actually be anchored on Fofana. Because we saw him actually coming to the aid of Ivory Coast when the danger actually were really calling from the opponent. And he's a kind of a goalkeeper who also knows how to command his line and bring also their back line actually work well. And sometimes when actually it calls for, he becomes so hungry. And that's what we call for a goalkeeper who can really command, who can actually shout on top of their voice and to ensure that he become their line number 1 of defense. We are talking, many guys are actually talking about Seko Fofana, given to how he has carried his team to all the way up to where it is. If he has not been scoring, he has actually been in a build-up or generating from a build-up to a score. And we have seen that actually throughout the entire tournament when Ivory Coast, and he has come to break the deadlock when Ivory Coast has really find it hard to find the back of the net. Seko Fofana, somewhere he has actually been there trying to shoot, long-range strides, trying to reach the target, driving the ball all the way from the opponent's half to the danger, from their own half to the opponent's half. And those are kind of the midfielders that you like, the offensive midfielder with the offensive mind of attacking. Every time he has the ball, he's thinking about attacking and shooting. And that's what the asset that Ivory Coast should do. Sebastian Haller, somehow questionable about him. Literally being the kind of form he's carrying to this cup of. He's a good player, but even listening throughout the entire match for the commentary, you would literally tell everyone was talking about when he's on form, he would have scored such kind of a goal. Because he has getting so much chances, so many chances in front of goal, but he's finding it hard to hit the target. and either ballooning, shooting way high, and that tells you a player who is not on form. Even the goal that he scored in semi-final, if not that bounce, he would have ended up maybe missing it. He's a player who knows how actually to position himself, find those spaces, but the form of hitting the target is no longer actually there with his feet, and he needs to find that form in final. If he doesn't find that form in final, then Nigeria will be there to punish them. Frank Kessie has been the engine destroyer at the midfield, and we have seen what he can do in the midfield. Kessie actually, to me, I think what he's doing in Saudi Arabia is a disservice to his fans. He needs actually to find his space and go back to where he was in Europe, either in Barcelona or maybe in Italy where he was training. Because his work rate in that midfield has really made the opponent work so hard to find the ball. He's either defending, he's either driving the ball past the midfield and try to find the offensive line. He's either supporting the offensive line to attack. At some point even I saw him hitting the woodwork. And it tells you a player who knows how to create and how to utilize all that heat map at the middle pack of the... If Kessie does not click at the midfield, then it means Ivory Coast backbone start crumbling. And that will be a danger to the Ivorian.
Yes, Ishtemi.
I'll start with Sebastian Haller. The last 2 years has been hell for him. And I understand that players just overcame testicular cancer to come and try to miss the Bundesliga title at the end of the season. That is with his Borussia Dortmund side. To right now, he started his career, his AFCON career, when at the quarterfinals, he came in and tried to frustrate the Malians, and fortunately they managed to win that game. And now he had his first start against DRC, and here it is. He has done it now. We are sure that this type of player is able to continue pushing what he wants his country maybe to get. Because if you bank on the littleness he has, in good day, definitely he can win you matches, because you know he has that aerial threat, he has that composure in the box, he has the physicality, and I'm pretty sure the Nigerians will be really working hard to ensure that indeed they try to tame him, because I know the likes of Trust, the likes of Ajayi, they're in for a very long night, because this is a type of player who can decide as and when to finish you in the game. Then you have the like of Seko and Kessie. Those are two midfielders who are really energetic. Their edge is actually hidden. When you ask me, I can't even tell their edge from the energy they've been carrying throughout this tournament. These two guys, when they're together, definitely expect the opposing midfielders to really push themselves to the limit. If they don't have the energy, the endurance, of course, it will be really difficult. And also, they're really physical. That is Kessie and Fofana. And Fofana, of course, the ability to move from his box into the opposition box, that's adds another value for the Ivorian, because any moment he goes into the opposition box, definitely there's a threat. He'll either force a shot for a rebound to come, or he'll have to win a corner kick or any other type of set piece. And then for Fafana, the goalkeeper, of course, the physique he has, we have seen he has tried to pull off some of the best saves in the tournament so far. He might have conceded a number of the goals. That is because of the shaky defense they have, because what Cedric says at some particular point, that indeed the rotation that the coach has been doing at the back sometimes comes to their disservice, because you need some people whom you really bank on. And some of those players like Kosono are people who have not been in this team for the longest period possible. But all said and done, I'm looking forward to a very interesting game, because this game is going to be won actually in the midfield. And we are going to see very limited goals in this game, because these two guys, that is Frank Kessie and then Seko Fofana, these are the guys who are going to control and control the tempo of that game. And I feel if they'll be on top of their game, then the likes of Onyeka are going to see a long night.
Yes, let's listen in to what Sebastian Haller has to say on tonight's final.
Yeah, of course, I feel the pressure. I'm a striker, so everything about scoring goals and put my team forward during the game, this is kind of responsibility for me and myself. So yeah, I feel it, but this pressure needs to be taken by everyone. And of course, this is how football works, you know. Strikers are most of the time putting forward, you know, putting in the front of everyone. So yeah, that's the life. But this is a good pressure as well. You play Africa Cup in your own country. You have a lot of people that just pushing you, support you every day. So it gives you the strength to just perform. So that's a beautiful thing, and I hope that this good pressure will bring my country to the top. Obviously, the last 1.5 years, like you said, have been quite challenging for myself, for the family, for everyone. So yeah, I have the feeling that no matter what you want to do, something will happen. So I just take everything step by step, and I just try to enjoy also every moment. You know, take every choices to don't get any regrets.
Well, Sebastian Haller speaking on tonight's final, what to expect now. Roger Sishtemi, there's a young man here, 22 years of age, that has been really, really influential for the Ivorians. What do you have to say about Adingra?
Of course, he was the game changer against Mali. We saw what he did off the bench. His energy was seen, and he's a type of player whom, if you are not energetic and swift, there's no way you can manage him, because he has the swiftness, the ability to change from both feet, and he can force into mistake. He can push you, and the aggressiveness is there because he has that attitude of never say die until he managed to get what he has. So if he managed to get some minutes tonight, of course, he's going to be very, 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 very instrumental for the Elephants, and it's going to give the Nigerians some tight moments, because if he managed to get those balls and force them into the box, and we have a player like Sebastian Haller into that zone, definitely is going to be somehow important for the Elephants. But it also depends with the position that the coach can sign him. Maybe he can also try to sign him off the flank and deny him a chance to penetrate through the midfield, through the center alongside Sebastian Haller, because these two combinations, if they manage to play together, I'm pretty sure Trust and Ajayi, they'll have to look for something different to ensure that they try to cage them.
Cedric, Omar Niakite missed the semi-final because of the red card that he got in the quarterfinals, but he will be back tonight.
Yeah.
Still, 20 years of age.
He just made terminated his flow in the tournament by pulling off his shirt. That really made him accumulate those yellow, which later on actually culminated to the red card, the offense that he really needed by himself, because knowing that Ivory Coast needed him that so much, he wouldn't have really celebrated with that kind of manner. But he's a kind of a player who can as well made his fullback too literally even read a newspaper in that particular pitch. Because remember, if he start attacking, it means that line actually neutralized. It becomes so neutralized to an extent that no one will attack from that particular flank. He's a player who is speedy, who can fall back and carry the ball, and more so if he have a wing back who can really complement him. He reminds me a pair of ZH and Akraf Hakimi. If Diakite actually can click, I don't know if, because Ivorian has been not giving us the literally natural regular player that we associate a team with. Now, I don't know if he will be playing alongside Sergio Aurier,
yes,
or maybe Singo, because they are yet to release the lineup. But I would have prayed that he play alongside Singo, because remember, these are the two, he's young equally, and compared to Sergio Aurier, Singo is younger to Sergio Aurier, who can really run and fall back to defend at the same time. It can be a kind of a speedy game, given to the kind of opponent they are going to face, that's Nigeria. And him being a speedy, who can really bring that value that is needed, going fast ahead, dribbling past the defenders, creating that space that is needed, bringing the dangerous cross that we have seen him associated him in the game. That's what Ivory Coast need from him. Take the ball to the youngster. Make him actually dance with the ball. Allow him to enjoy the game. He will give you the value. Sebastian Haller, as Roger said, they will be waiting to see how...
For the crosses.
Yeah, this lad will be bringing crosses for them to latch on. And if he clicks, we have seen what he can do. He has the magic in his feet.
Shtemi, now that Cedric ran through the Nigerian squad, the first 11, without even us mentioning it, let's take a look at the players that we expect, of course, to star for Nigeria. You have Nwabali Stanley, you have Moses Simon, Demola Lukman, Trust Ekong. Briefly, take us through what you're expecting from these players. Of course, you also cannot forget to mention Victor Osimhen.
We start with Nabali. Nabali, he was a nobody before this tournament. Remember, Josep Pereiro, the coach, personally went to scout him in South Africa. The guy plays for Chippa United, and he received a lot of criticism why he was going for this Nabali, but Nabali has tried to prove critics wrong with this prowess in between the post, and he's the reason as to why Nigeria is at this particular stage. And I feel him together with this Captain Fantastic, that is William Trost, have been so crucial for the Nigerian defense, because you understand they've only conceded, I think, 2 goals from the open play, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
And this guy, I think, has conceded, is it once? Yeah, actually, they've conceded once from the open play. The other has been the penalty, that is from Teboha. And I feel if this guy continue maintaining the presence he has been doing between the posts and his ability for those quick starts, definitely it's going to be an interesting, he will cap off this tournament with something to smile about. And then talking about Trost himself, Trost, of course, there have been a lot of talks about maybe now he has attracted interest from Saudi Arabia, but the former Watford centre half is actually a rock in between that defense, because his leadership and ability to take those pressure penalties is something that has been so unique. Because remember, the Nigerian came in this tournament with a lot of suckers between and within their camp based on the performance they had coming to this tournament. But all said and done, Trost must continue this leadership ability, and he must be on the best night tonight if Nigeria have to win this title, because it's going to get a lot of challenges. That is via Sebastian Haller, Adingra, and Diakate. Those are the players who will be coming directly into Trost and trying to test him, indeed, if to see if he can continue maintaining that that startness be at the central defense. And then we have
Cedric, in 1 minute, because we are wrapping up the show, in 1 minute, Nigeria, what are you expecting from them?
I'm seeing Nigeria actually operating with flanks, because here you have mentioned the likes of Moses Simon and Lokman.
Yes.
These are players actually who open up the field and they try to bring those crosses from the flank. And they are so dangerous, and they are good in doing that. Nigeria actually will be opening up the field and they're trying to bring those crosses from the flank to see if they can latch on from the center, looking for their hitman, Victor Osimhen. That's how they will end up actually breaking this disintegrated Ivorian defense.
So who's winning?
Nigeria will win against Ivory Coast.
Tell me, who's winning?
okay, history favors Nigeria, because on the last edition, any moment that Nigeria has beaten Ivory Coast, they've managed to go and win the tournament. But this time around, I think it will be a totally different thing, and I'm putting my money on Ivory Coast.
You're putting your money on Ivory Coast. Cedric Msumba is putting his money on Nigeria. Well, we'll have to wait until around 1 a.m. to know who the winner is. Thank you very much, Cedric Msumba. Thank you, Roger Shemi, for giving us your insights on what to expect in the Africa Cup of Nations 2023 final taking place in 2024 in Ivory Coast. The host, Ivory Coast, taking on the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Who will have the last laugh? We'll have to wait and see. And that is where we wrap it up here on Scoreline. My name is Robinson Okenye. Have a good afternoon. I'll be seeing you tomorrow on Inside Sports from 1:30 to 2, where I will be with Cedric to give me his thoughts on tonight's final.